Russian soldiers who were planning to sneak up on Ukrainian positions in the South Slobozhansky direction were detected and struck by operators from the 4-post brigade of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine. The invaders tried to hide in the tall grass and reeds, but the border guards spotted the group in time and passed their coordinates to the FPV drone operators of the Apex unit. The Russian soldiers never made it to the Ukrainian positions. And in the Vovchansk direction, the Ukrainian military destroyed a Russian quad bike that the enemy was trying to hide under a camouflage net in the area of the village of Hatishcha. Drone operators spotted the Russian occupiers' transport and struck it. Now the Russians will have to travel on foot. And other soldiers of the Russian army who tried to infiltrate and entrench themselves in Kupiansk were destroyed by Ukrainian drone operators from the 41st Separate Mechanized Brigade. The soldiers reported that pilots from the Motorized Infantry Battalion detect and strike enemy assault groups on the outskirts of the city every day. Meanwhile, in the Lyman direction, Ukrainian forces repelled attempts by Russian troops to advance near Yampil as well as towards Ozerne, Novoselivka, and Dibrova. On the Kostiantinivka sector of the front, the Russian army attacked near the settlements of Ilanivka, Rustynyar, and Stepanivka. And near Pokrovsk, the Ukrainian Defense Forces repelled assaults by the invaders near Shakhova and Udachne, as well as towards Toretske, Matisheve, and Novopodhorodne.
The plans that the enemy had drawn up for the summer phase of the 2026 offensive campaign have been effectively completely destroyed, wiped out, and remain unrealized.
And in one of the sectors in the Donetsk region, special forces from the Omega Legion of the National Guard of Ukraine destroyed 2 armored combat vehicles and a truck belonging to Russian forces. The Russian invaders used cargo transport to supply their units. In total, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, just in July of this year, Ukrainian defenders destroyed nearly 14,000 units of enemy automotive equipment.
When we talk about the scale of combat operations, it is primarily about controlling enemy resources and our ability to minimize these resource capabilities for the enemy as much as possible. No resources, no success on the battlefield for the enemy. I would also like to draw our audience's attention to the following. Our future is not determined solely by the automotive component. Combat operations targeting key logistics, routes, hubs, arteries, and locations where enemy equipment is concentrated, including the automotive group, also yield those very results.
And on one of the southern sectors of the front, Ukrainian border guards destroyed a Russian UAZ Patriot that Russian military personnel were trying to hide from drones. Shelters and observation posts, the dugout, and the Russian soldiers themselves were also hit. In addition, 2 ATVs and 7 pieces of automotive equipment, which Russian troops used for movement and the delivery of ammunition, were also struck.
If in 2022 they believed that the stockpiles of weapons and ammunition they had accumulated and concentrated before the invasion would be enough at least to capture all of Ukraine and maybe even parts of Europe, then after 5 years of full-scale invasion, it turned out that these stockpiles were not nearly enough. They have already scraped together everything they had from old Soviet stockpiles. Everything that could be restored, they have restored. It's still not enough, so everything coming off the assembly line is going straight to the front. The Russians are running short on weapons, and it's no longer a question of using the most modern weaponry, because that's technologically expensive. They need to scale up cheap, mass-produced weapons that are close at hand. And that's where, so to speak, the North Koreans and Iranians come in, who can offer exactly that kind of weaponry.
And over the past 24 hours, Ukraine's defense forces have eliminated 1,210 Russian invaders. In total, since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Russian army has already lost more than 1,455,000 soldiers. In addition, over the past day, Ukrainian defenders destroyed 1 Russian tank, 11 armored combat vehicles, 67 artillery systems, and 2 multiple launch rocket systems. Furthermore, 3 air defense systems and 14 ground-based robotic complexes were destroyed. Nearly 400 units of enemy automotive and special equipment were turned into scrap metal.